when they came in the door that night with the police officer, I could feel that there was a lot of care and willingness to give whatever help they could give us and the support that we would need, even though we never knew these people before.
Need an ambulance, ident, supervisor?
It was just so fast. He came right across. Is he all right?
We were not sure.
Stay with us.
142, gone for right.
Where's the ambulance?
141, getting fuel.
In an emergency like this, police, ambulance, and fire personnel are the first line of help. But somewhere, his family and friends are unaware and unprepared to deal with the crisis. They are also victims. Crisis assistance organizations are a second line of immediate help for victims of tragic circumstance and crime. They supplement emergency services and work in cooperation with other community agencies and groups. In 1987, Victim Crisis Assistance and Referral Service, or VICRS, began as a pilot project of the Ontario Ministry of the Solicitor General. Services were established in Sault Ste. Marie, Brantford, and Kingston, and funded through the Interministerial Wife Assault Prevention Initiative.
Go ahead.
We just received a call from the hospital. The driver of that vehicle was pronounced DOA.
10-4. Could you notify the traffic sergeant that a death notification is going to be required?
10-4.
Although there are several ways of delivering victim services, this project used trained volunteers who respond to police requests for immediate assistance at the scene.
Hello, I'm Constable Caldma. This is Sergeant Noble. Are you Mrs. Smith?
Yes, I am.
May we come in and speak to you for a minute?
Certainly.
Honey, the police are here.
Yes?
Maybe you better have a seat.
What seems to be the problem, officer?
Do you have a son, Gregory Adam Smith?
Yes, we do.
We have some bad news. There was a serious accident earlier this evening involving a snow machine and an automobile. There was a fatality.
No.
Your son, Greg, died. I'm terribly sorry.
No. Oh my God, no. Greg, no.
You're positive? I mean, there's no doubt that...
Yes, he was carrying identification with him, and it was Greg.
Mr. Smith, we have a team of victims assistance volunteers that are on hand. These people are trained to help in situations like this. We'd like to notify them to attend at your home if that's all right with you.
I don't know.
Anything that you need, things you need done, any phone calls, they'll stay with you. They're a support group, and we use them quite often, and they're a good group of people.
I don't know. What do you think, honey? You think we should call these people?
Oh, right.
Yeah, maybe you should call them.
5-1 to the station. Could you please notify victims assistance to have a team attend at this residence?
The volunteers are a clear demonstration of neighborly help at a critical time. They lend a sensitive ear, emotional support, and practical assistance, hopefully bringing some comfort to the bereaved.
If you'd like, we can stay there with you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, my mom is out west,
Okay. And
but
the mom's
she's in Calgary.
If requested, the volunteers can provide practical help, such as calls to family members, or they may provide information related to the crisis at hand.
one step at a time.
Volunteers respect the victim's dignity by not attempting to influence decisions or take control.
There is a real need for the victims to have someone that they can trust and feel comfortable with. Basically, that's what we're there for their needs.
What is victimization? It really is the acknowledgement that there but for fortune go I, that this could happen to me, this perhaps has happened to me or someone that I know of.
If victim assistance wasn't there, there would be such a void.
Sault Ste. Marie's program serves residents of the southern Algoma district. 116 volunteers provide mobile response to a 25,000 square kilometer area. Volunteer teams assist victims referred to them by the officers of the Sault Ste. Marie and Elliott Lake Municipal Police Services, as well as Ontario Provincial Police detachments in Sault Ste. Marie, Thessalon, Blind River, and Elliott Lake.
Good morning, Victim Assistance. May I help you? Oh, good morning, Sergeant.
The pilot project demonstrated several important service components, including quality training of volunteers, confidentiality, and responsiveness to specific victims' needs, such as cultural sensitivity and linguistic services.
Hi, it's Kathy from Victim Assistance calling.
I'm sure you're going to get the same
Victim assistance programs rely on the cooperation of police services in their areas. As a result, liaison meetings with police personnel are frequent.
Well, I know there's a number of different victim service models in the province, and Thessalon and Blind River certainly won't have exactly the same as we have in Sault Ste. Marie, but there are some basic formulas for success here that work. And I think the important one is that it is a partnership. When Victim Services is established, that they establish a very close link with the police and that they work together and they gain that trust of one another so that they're not seen as apart from each other. I think that that's really critical, because if it flows from the top down, then it'll also start working at the bottom up, and I think that's the critical part.
And it's definitely such a cooperative effort, because where you have to rely on us to deliver what we say we're going to deliver in terms of program and availability, and yes, we will be there 24 hours a day. We have to rely on you and on your officers to call us to safe situations and to provide for the safety portions of our mandate, and also to, enhance people's knowledge of the program, invite them to use the program, and so it definitely is a very cooperative venture.
But I think that what it points out is that we've got a successful program that's going in the province.
Right.
It's starting to expand, and we certainly hope that it's going to be able to continue on and to do the good around this province that it's done here.
As a volunteer with the program, it does me good to take a look and to see the actual assistance and the appreciation the victims of the crime have. Victims of crime are a unit or a group of people that need special help and special attention. And as a crisis volunteer worker, it makes me feel good to see that these victims are not the forgotten ones in society, and that there is a program that is beneficial to them.
I'm just here tonight to talk about some of the programs that we
training
deal with.
is well received by the volunteers. It provides all of the information that the volunteers require to do their job, and we rely heavily on referral agencies in Sault Ste. Marie to assist us in the training program and explaining what services their agency provides. As well, we are heavily involved with training to the police department members, or police service members.
The benefit to the community of the 4,200 hours of training undertaken by people in Sault Ste. Marie in a year is 100,000 hours of direct community service work for the residents of this community.
in a lot of instances, many instances, of course, the children in spousal assaults. And while you're at the residence for 3 or 4 hours talking to the wife and working with the wife and obtaining assistance for her and trying to connect her with a referral service, the time spent in that residence, we observe the reactions of the children.
Vickers provides a vital role in adding that little bit of stability and support for the people involved, the people who are the victims.
Each of the projects also provides service to surrounding rural communities. More remote areas pose unique challenges. For instance, rapid response time is more difficult, and modified dispatch systems are needed. Particular attention is also paid to identifying local volunteers with broad expertise.
We don't have the immediate resources that the larger municipalities have in regards to community social programs, etc. One nice thing about the victim assistance personnel, they are well aware of all the programs that are available, and they can pass these programs on to the victim.
In Brant County, there is the city of Brantford, the town of Paris, a number of small villages, and the 6 nations of the Grand River First Nation community. As well, the county includes a considerable rural farming population. Approximately 100 volunteers currently serve the municipal, First Nation, and rural areas.
Our volunteers never cease to amaze me. I just can't emphasize that enough. I mean, these people, they're just terrific. They come through when you need them. They're dedicated. They care about people. They want to know the next day how they are. They just give, and that's what they're there for, and that's what they want to do, and they make such a difference. It's the community. It's the community helping other people. It's not. It's a whole bunch of people coming together: police, community, volunteers, and everybody, so that that person feels surrounded by people who care about them.
We have a young man in the back room. His name is Ken. He's been staying with his friend Raj for the last couple of days. He had to leave his home because he's having problems with his father.
In this community, we get mostly family-related incidents. Some are victims of crime, and some are victims of circumstances, like homeless, for instance. This may not be a criminal act, so to speak, that there's a victim, but it may be that somebody has lost their home through, it could be through fire, it could be through being evicted. Sometimes it could be because of a dispute between a parent and a child, and I'm talking a teenage child over 16.
Stay for tonight. Yeah, I was in a real mess. I didn't know what to do, and I'm really glad that
We also respond a great deal to victims of wife assault.
So can you tell us maybe what happened?
I guess in his rage or whatever, he shoved me, and I went flying across the room.
Were you hurt at all?
My back sore when I hit the table, but that's about all. He threw me over the coffee table.
Are you going to see the doctor?
I haven't yet.
It's important that you see about it. Where were the children at this time?
They were upstairs.
Yeah. Did they hear this?
I must have heard us arguing because they came downstairs. I heard them coming.
And did they see him push you or anything like that?
They must have, because somebody called the cops, called the police on us, and
you don't know who?
I don't know who called. It could have been one of the kids.
I see. So
because next thing I knew, the officer was there.
Mm-hmm.
I called the school and told them that there had been a problem the night before, and that if the kids felt, if they noticed anything, to say something to the teachers and let them know what's going on, so that at least they can go to somebody.
So do you feel safe with this situation the way it is now? Because if you are worried, okay, and you don't feel safe in the home, there are places you can go. There's a woman's shelter that will take you and the children.
Okay.
And you will be safe there, okay?
That I can't carry someone else. I can only feel for them, and I leave the rest in my Creator's hands. I ask for guidance with that. Because if I tried to carry all the weight of the world on top of my shoulders, I wouldn't be any good to help other people, you know, so.
Frontenac County includes the city of Kingston and rural areas, such as Sharbot Lake, 70 kilometers to the north. 6 police services call upon volunteers, including the South Frontenac, Kingston Township, and Sharbot Lake detachments of the Ontario Provincial Police, the Kingston Municipal Police Service, Canadian Forces Base Kingston, and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. 85 community members are currently accredited victim service workers.
Our youngest operational person would be roughly 21, 22 years of age. Our most senior would be 84 years of age. We have 6 married teams that are actively involved in. One of the really neat things that we always find in doing recruitments is that the number of people that are interested to become actively involved with becoming more their neighbor's neighbor when they look at the issue of becoming more active in their community.
Normally it's just a friendly visit, and if they ask for suggestions, you sometimes give them, but we don't try to impose our will on anybody. I mean, most people, we try to get them in a frame of mind where they can think for themselves. Once they've done that, then we can assist them in doing what they want to do.
I think the 401 in general is a high accident highway simply because of the volume of traffic that moves down that highway in any given day. The accidents we have here on 401, the people are quite often a long ways from home and they don't know anybody. It's an unfamiliar territory.
Being close to the highway and close to the state, we get a lot of different people from different background and ethnic group, and with that we do get a lot of different language people, especially on the 401 with accident.
So when we call in victim assistance people, they can provide transportation quite frequently. They can direct people to local services, provide friend and needing ear, telephone access, contact relatives and friends, those types of things.
Toronto one time.
Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I think I feel okay. I'm just really concerned about how I'm going to get
I was a victim of an accident in '86, and at the time there was no victim service available, and I thought by joining the victim crisis team, if I could shortcut some people, one or as many as possible, through a lot of the hassles that I went through without any assistance, if I could help one person, then I've done my job.
We maintain a very strong association with all social and health services, which is really one of our primary strength points, is that we can provide something for just about any victim given any situation.
And if there's a victim services, at least some of these victims that need the immediate support can get it through victim services because they can channel them quickly. But if you don't have it, you don't know where to turn. You spend a lot of lonely hours and a lot of tears.
The pilots taught us a lot about victim crisis assistance. They taught us that this is a program that works very effectively to support victims of crime in tragic circumstance and disaster. And we learned a lot about the capabilities of communities because of the volunteers that live in those communities to provide this kind of assistance. We learned a lot about the willingness of neighbors, in a sense, to help neighbors.
The Vickers Pilot Project consistently found that victims in every area most value 2 things: the immediacy of the service at any hour of the day, and the certainty that the service is confidential. In turn, volunteers find their training gives them confidence in their ability to effectively help victims. They also value the security provided by police officers, who ensure that volunteers are called to safe situations. Whatever the specific type of victim service best suited to a community, timely, confidential, and qualified assistance form the core of the program. How the service is organized will depend in large part on local needs and resources. For communities seeking to establish victim services, the information gained by the Vickers pilot project may be of help.
The Vickers program has proven to me that it is valuable social service for this community.
Most of our detachment is involved in community policing at the time. It's just an extra plus to have the victims' crisis work with the police in community policing. The community sees that the police utilize the victims' crisis and are there to help the people and the victims of crime, and they see the whole program is community-oriented. It helps to keep us on a proactive approach to policing rather than a reactive approach.
If you need help, the service is there. It's there to help you, and we encourage it to be used.
I have a lot of faith in the idea of community development. I really believe that if you give people an idea, if you present people with a problem, that and you give them some support just in terms of training, that they will, especially around an issue which is as gripping as this one is, that they will come up with ideas. And I guess I'm counting on that.
We're put on this earth to help other people. And I think it's very rewarding, the work that we do here.
I know to me it's a very tangible way of helping people. I know that physically I go out to the call, I don't know, like let's say it's a burglary or something, you go and you help people board up their windows. You sit with them for a couple hours. When you leave, you know you've made a difference.
No matter whether it's a victim of a property crime or a violent crime, it's still devastating to that person, and I don't look forward to seeing another person in our community suffer.
They gave us a lot of strength, being here with us at the time that we were told about the tragedy. Just having them here to hold our hands, or just give us a hug, or just being here gave us the strength to keep going through the night.
I find the initial shock, like you don't know where you're going, and they were there like a third party, like looking in, and they were helping us in different ways of like what you should do next, or what to expect, how your feelings are going to be.
At the time that we were told, my first instinct was to run away. I thought that if I would run away, it would go away. But then I thought, well, it's not going to do anything. I have to stay here and face it. Sitting around the table with the Vickers volunteers, they helped us to make decisions as to who we had to get in touch with, our family members. They also mentioned different organizations that we could get help with or from.
We had 1,001 questions to ask, and they were more or less there to answer our questions.
They were there to help us, and
if there's anything we could do to help with Vickers or help anybody else that's been through a tragedy.
And that's why we're here.